Verbally Effective, your double E, Ina Esco here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 141 of the Verbally Effective podcast. You guys know you can check us out right now on the Ina Esco channel on YouTube. Plus, we're streaming on Spotify, iHeart, Spreaker, SoundCloud. You can get the podcast audio style anywhere, but now we have visuals because you got to see this pretty lady I got with me today. I have one of the baddest singers from the Mid-South with me, and she is gorgeous, ladies and gents. Her name is Porcelan. How are you, Porcelan?
Hi, I'm doing well. I'm doing as good as I can be during this time.
Look, I am loving this green.
You like this? I'm trying something different.
I love it, but you are rocking that hair, honey.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just got it hooked up yesterday. I said, you know what? I'm gonna try some color, do something like in the pastel. So the green was definitely a little bit more daring than I love my blonde, but I said, I'm gonna try this and be more festive.
Yes, it is gorgeous. But thank you so much for joining me today, Porcelan. I've been trying to get you on the pod. I'm so glad that you are with me today because I know since I've last seen you in person, there have been so many changes going on in your life, right?
Yes, it's in everybody's life for sure. And we all, I'm definitely transitioning, becoming more comfortable, still having to work. So yes, definitely been a lot of changes for sure.
Yes. So we're going to start at the beginning, Porcelan. What part of Memphis are you from?
I'm from Westwood.
Westwood. Wow. Tell me about growing up in Westwood.
Growing up in Westwood, I lived with my grandma. I don't think like people always kind of affiliate Westwood as kind of being away from Memphis or like something like that. But it's really true. It's true. It's his own community. I grew up around older people. It's very country, very, very southern kind of environment. Memphis is southern anyway, but Westwood is definitely, because that's like where all the old people live, where your grandma and your uncle, oh, my grandmama stay over there. Oh, my grandmama, your grandmama friend. So it was really, it's like its own community, and they support each other, and it's like a family everywhere you go, especially if you find somebody that's from there and they're like, you from Westwood? Me too, girl. And then y'all instantly end up being cool. So it was cool growing up in Westwood.
Did you attend Westwood High School?
I didn't attend Westwood High School until my 12th grade year because I moved. I moved from over there when I was a teenager. I stayed in, and you're gonna be like, why you stay way over there? I went to Sheffield, but I stayed in Orange Mound. So I went to Sheffield because my uncle was teaching there. He was the basketball coach, and my mom was kind of nervous, because every mom is nervous when their daughter going to high school. So she wanted to have somebody there to look out for me going to a new school. So, and my uncle wanted me there with him. So I ended up going to Sheffield.
So how were you able to talk them into letting you go to Orange Mound your last year?
No, I lived in Orange Mound. Okay. I lived in Orange Mound. I wanted to go to Melrose because all my friends from Sherwood, because I went there in middle school, and if you know where Sherwood is, that's in Orange Mound. Yeah. I wanted to go to Melrose, but my mom was like, no. So no, it's a bad school. So I ended up going to Sheffield, which is not that great either. But she was like, it wasn't great then. Yeah. But she just wanted me to be around my uncle, and we had moved from Westwood, and it was a new area, and I kind of wanted to stick close to my friends just because I didn't want to get,
I understand.
To know new friends. They don't want to get to know new people. So, they care about their peers. And then at the time I was like, I really want to go follow my friends. But Sheffield was cool. I actually went back to Westwood my 12th grade year. So
okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Wow. So what was Porcelan involved in while attending high school? What were you into?
I tried so much, but then I realized that I wasn't really into like the sports that much. I did volleyball for a very short time. I was like,
I'm a former volleyball. I'm a old setter, but okay. Did you
yeah,
like volleyball? You was like,
it was fun, but I was like, this ain't my passion. And I had the opportunity to kind of go through the motions. I tried cheerleading, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna be in choir. I'm gonna be in choir. I'm gonna sing. So that was my space. I was in that space my whole high school life, and that's what I did. The classical, the jazz, the play, the gospel, and that's really my passion. So I ended up being sucked into music at that time.
That was your passion. You can't escape your passion. So
right.
Are you an alto or soprano?
I'm an alto. Yeah, I'm definitely an alto. I have some range, but my comfortable area is definitely more of an alto space.
Okay. Gotcha. So you here in high school performing with the choir, you graduate high school. What was next for Porcelan at that time in your life?
When I graduated high school, I had my son. I had my son when I turned 18. I really wanted to go to a university, but I was young, I had a baby. So I went to a community college. I went to DeSoto County, actually.
Really?
Yes, I did. It was really nice. You get the same experience, but I didn't want to be too far away from my mom because I'm like, something happens with my baby. I want to be able to get the best advice possible. And that's your mom. So I went there for about a semester, and then I started feeling like, I needed to do something different because my son during that time, he was sick a lot. I was, constantly taking him to the doctor. He had like bronchitis. And I said, it's stressful trying to have a baby or trying to take care of a baby and trying to go to school and all that. And I was like, I need money.
Yes.
You need money. So I was like, I think I'm going to do something different. I got advice before I did it. I talked to professors I had as friends, people that influenced me growing up, and I was like, what would you do? Does it not make sense for me to do this because I do need to be working more. Right. And they told me to follow my dreams and that they wish they would have when they were younger, because I can go to school. School will always be there, but your dreams and you're young. It was like, you're young, you're fresh, you're ambitious. You should just do what you love to do. And at the time, I'm not even gonna lie, I was going to class and doing my work, but because my son was sick and I was working long hours at night after school, I ended up being late most of the days. And he was like, you're a great student. He was like, I don't see how you coming in doing your work. You're not even in class, but you do so good on your work, but you're still not going to be able to pass the course. So if you want to leave, you should just go ahead and leave now while you don't owe financial aid.
Boom.
I left. I got all that advice, to speed things up. I got all the advice. I left. And then that's when I started pursuing music. I said, you know what? This is my dream. It's now, or I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life.
Okay.
So that's when I started pursuing music. And as I'm sitting here right now, working, still grinding, and it's paying off for me. So I feel like I made a great decision for myself.
Now, how long have you been in the music business, Porcelan?
I've been doing music for about 12 years now. I think when I graduated, when I graduated from high school, around that time, and I went to a community college, I was still 18. So I literally been doing that since I was 18, and I'm like 29 now. So
wow. So you have grown up in this music industry, and I know that you've seen a lot, you've been through a lot, even with, you telling us about you being a teen mom and your child was sick and you had to struggle with that decision. So when you did take that step to pursue music full time, how did it go? What's the first thing that you did? Because I'm sure when you started, you had to figure things out. Did you get a manager? Did you have a momager? You know, tell me about first starting in this music business, because the music business is brutal, honey. So tell me the tea.
It's tough, you know. Not really having a direction. I tried to do my research, and I asked other people, you know, what they were doing, my friends that did music, and I was like, how do I start? And the funny thing is I was still figuring it out, but I went somewhere with my sister. Her best friend had a birthday party, and we went to the birthday party, and I'm like, everybody's like, Porcelan's gonna sing happy birthday. I'm like, I don't even know.
They put you on the spot.
I'm like, why am I singing? I don't know her. Like, girl, you can sing it. And my family always put me on the spot. Everybody I know puts me on the spot when it comes to singing. And I sung, and I met this guy. He was like, why are you not putting anything on YouTube? And I was like, I don't know how to work this stuff. I was like, because I literally had just started figuring it out and going through the motion, and covers were really popular then. You know, YouTube was really popping.
Yeah.
And he was like, we're going to start doing some covers. And literally the next week is when I started. That was my imprint in music. I started doing covers, just other people's songs. And then he ended up saying, you know what, I'm going to be your manager. And he didn't know anything about managing. He was a makeup artist. So we were literally like, he was like, no, I know people. I know a girl who styles. I have friends they're trainers. So that was literally my first team. I ended up having a vocal teacher, a trainer, and all it was just a bunch of hungry creatives that came together, and I think that was when I really, really started, and we just figured it out as we went. I mean, nobody knew what they were doing. But
I like how you said a hungry team of creatives, because you got a lot of hungry team of creatives out here right now.
Right. You gotta be
trying to get it,
because we was working free. You know, it wasn't. Nobody was making any money from this. So you have a girl styling. She want to get her clothes out there. She want to get her shoes out there. You have a guy who's interested in training, someone who wants to get their feet wet in the vocal coaching realm. And I just work with people who are just starting off. And we were able to put a team together and use our resources. And it really, at that point, I started doing shows around Memphis. You know, I probably met you during that time.
Yes.
And I was literally just moving, and you know, people started hearing about me, and that was like the beginning for me.
Wow. And you say you did a lot of covers. What were some of your favorite covers you used to do? The ones that's gonna pop when you sing them? Because I hear a lot of covers in Memphis, like, you know, going out to an event, if there's going to be talent singing, we hear a lot of covers in Memphis. I hardly ever hear a Memphis artist original music. It's very seldom, and I believe it's because Memphis loves covers. I don't know why, but they do. But what were some of your covers that were popping?
One of my covers that was my favorite one that I did, well, my favorite two. I did Unthinkable, Alicia Keys, and Lions, Tigers, and Bears.
Oh, now that's the bop right there.
Those are my favorite songs. Two of my favorite songs in general. But doing the covers and people really gravitating to those songs, because Unthinkable had just came out, and then you know, Jasmine Sullivan's Hot album came out soon, like after that. So yeah, those were my two favorites.
Wow. And that was the beginning, Porcelan. That's amazing to hear, you know, how it all started for you. And if we fast forward to today, so much has evolved, so much has changed. You have a new album called Mood Ring that is coming out on October 30th. You are now with an entirely new team, not the Hungry Creatives anymore. You're with Made in Memphis, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So tell me about the transition from being independent to now with an entire label? And I understand that Made in Memphis has been undergoing some rebranding as well. So tell me about that transition from, you know, that hungry side to now, I guess, you know, getting more structure and more into the deeply rooted piece of the music game.
It's been definitely life-changing in a way. I feel like during the time when I first came here, they were doing like development, and I kind of came in with the talent, a little rough around the edges in certain areas, and that's just because I had been doing it on my own. So you're gonna do what you know, but at the same time, I think that I'm still in a space where the grind is still independent for me, yes. Regardless of whether I'm in a situation. I feel like a situation is only going to be what you make it. If I'm here and I'm signed and I'm just chilling because I think I have all these things working for me, and I'm not going to still get the results because right. It's up to you. It's up to me. So, I mean, even though I signed, they helped me structure certain areas, kind of point out where, you're not organized here, you're not organized here. And I was able to get those pieces together. It was very crash course for me. Because, I mean, immediately when I walked through the door, there were, changes and putting me on a schedule, and you're going to work this long. And I'm like, man, I'm used to coming to the studio when I want to come to the studio.
Right.
So it was definitely some changes, but I feel like because I was so ambitious, it really didn't bother me that much, because I was already thinking, like, if you're going to be a real professional, these are things you need to think about anyway. Things you need to correct anyway. I'm like, yeah, man, let me get my organization together. Because when you blow up and your life is all over the place, that structure is what's going to keep you grounded. So, it was in a good way. It definitely grew me up in a lot of ways, and taught me how to better present myself and better speak for myself and really stand out in front. Because honestly, with Lois Lane, Real Thing Don't Change was a great record for me. That was my first single.
I love that record, Lois Lane.
You do. People don't talk about it as
on
much.
V101, baby. We tore that song up on V101. I remember Lois Lane, baby. Yes.
Yeah, Lois Lane was definitely the record that really, really did it for me. Real Thing Don't Change, it started the wheel kind of moving, but people don't talk about that one as much. I think that one was where, I really started kind of building in the industry and people started hearing. And then Lois Lane just went, and it was like, I had to really rely on myself in that moment and what I had learned previously before, because once that song picked up, we were like, show, yeah. interview. It was like 1, 2, 3, go. So, those structured things early on really helped me a lot.
Wow.
Really.
So we then went from Lois Lane. Now we're with the new album, Mood Ring. Talk to me about Mood Ring. How was it making this album, and what can we expect from you on this album, Porcelan?
Mood Ring, honestly, it came about because I said, you know what? I had Real Thing Don't Change, which was inspirational. I had Lois Lane, which was independent and still showed a vulnerable side. And I'm kind of like looking at the sequence of how my music was sounding and how, my presence and the substance in it and what I'm speaking of and what means something to me as an artist. So when Mood Ring came about, I was just creating. I was going back listening, and I was like, man, I want to feel a certain sound. I want to have a certain vibe. And I literally we worked a year I did so many different songs, but it's like, I wanted to be in a space that I felt like was me. And I was like, you know what, if you sing and you can write and you can, deliver, you can do any song, but it doesn't mean that any song is your song. It could be, and I write as well. So I'm like, okay, we can pitch some of these records. I don't really think I would want to represent this, but I'm cool with singing it and writing it in the studio because it's a part of my talent, a part of my job. So with Mood Ring, I was writing, recording, we were recording, and I went back and listened to some songs, and I said, you know what? I think this is the space I want to be in. Mm-hmm. And it literally started there. I didn't think it was going to be an album. I wasn't thinking it was going to be Mood Ring. I didn't know what it was going to be. I said, you know what? I like this space. Mm-hmm. And that was when I recorded Act Out. Act Out is the record. I said, you know what? I want to say something real because there are people going through real stuff and they vulnerable and they hurt and they haven't recovered from it. And I think that I want to speak in that realm because it's relatable and you want people to relate to you. That's how you engage with your fans. That's how people gravitate towards you. You connect with them from a real place. So I kind of started focusing more on connecting with people from a real place and actually putting my life into the music and what I want to become inside of my songs. So Mood Ring, because I was in a space where I was going through so much in the industry, because everybody wants to make you into something. Everybody wants you to be what they see you being in their head. And you like, you know what? That's cool that you see that for me, but I don't see that for myself. That's not who I am. So, and I say this because it's like with women in the industry, we always get boxed in. You know, men they can go do whatever, they can do whatever they want to do. But women, oh yeah, you're this, so you gotta go down this lane and you got to stay there. You're this, so you gotta go down that lane. And my biggest inspiration, career-wise, talent-wise, is Rihanna. And I say Rihanna. I say Rihanna because she is multifaceted. She does everything. Mm-hmm. Every style of music, she's already done it. Yep. And she didn't have anybody telling her, oh, don't do this, don't do country, don't do pop, don't do, these EDM vibes, don't do that. She did all those things. Yes. She literally has been a rock artist. She's mainstream. She's been hip hop. She's been R&B. She's done that. So Mood Ring was my space to say, I'm a mood ring. I'm not one dimensional. Yeah. Whatever the mood is, that's what I'm going to be. Yeah. And I related that to a body of work. And I say, if I'm in relationships, I want to kind of tell a story with my album, speak about the happiness, because it's a mood ring. So the happiness in a relationship, the uncertainty in a relationship, the vulnerability, the destruction of a relationship, and then getting over it and seeing a light in your self-worth. Mm-hmm. And not need nobody to make you happy and feel whole. Okay. Doing what you want to do when you want to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's when Mood Ring kind of came about. And I was like, what y'all think about? What y'all think about Mood Ring? He was like, I like that.
Look good, because that's what it is.
Right. I was already there. I said, okay, glad I like it, but this is the name of it.
You know what, Porcelan? I'm so glad that you're able to remain yourself, because just looking at you, talking with you, when I've met you, you have always been the same. You have always been real. And I'm glad that Riri is an inspiration for you, because you're right. She does what she wants to do. She's not boxed in. And I'm glad that you are following that same lane of trying new facets of music, not just, like you hear some of these R&B ladies, it's kind of like the same thing over and over. You know what you can expect. But with you, I see we're going to have some surprises along the way, which is a great thing. So I wish you the best of luck on Mood Ring, everything you're doing. And I hear that on your new single, Toxic, Stevie Wonder participated in the making, in the creation, and the production of this song. Tell me about that.
I'm truly blessed to have him be a part of my project, because during the time I was really writing, a lot of these records were created over the pandemic time. Yes. I was kind of pushed out of the studio, in the midst of really getting the sound I want, and then they shut down everything. And I'm like, no, I gotta get my album done.
Okay.
And I'm at home. I'm like, you know what? I'm writing in my bed. And I'm like, when they open this studio back up, I'm going in.
I'm there.
I'm staying in there every day. And that's what I did, you know, and I was able to create the work. And Stevie was me and him talked over the whole time. And I was like, you know, I'm executive producing his album. You know, I'm picking the tracks. You know, I'm picking the writers. I picked my own engineer because I knew what sound I wanted.
Yes.
And I was
a lot of artists don't do all that, Porcelan. A lot of artists got all of that stuff figured out for them. So this is amazing that you have that autonomy to select your team. First off, that's great. That's great.
I appreciate that.
Okay. I just want
I do. I guess, you know, and I guess when I'm thinking about it, when people say it, I'm just like, oh, okay. Because I'm thinking I was like, people do this, don't they? But then I'm like, no. That's true.
Yeah.
That's facts. But like working with him, it was an honor. I mean, we talked and he was like, you know what I love about you is that you're super genuine. And, you know, when I heard you, because we did a show in October of like 2017 and he heard my voice literally. He was like, I want to do a song with her. Ooh. And I was like, what? You want to do a song? Yes. What? And we literally have been friends since that moment. And he was like, I feel you're genuine and you have a bright spirit about you and the conviction in your sound and your music, it just feels real. Mm-hmm. And that's why I want to help you and I want to be a part of what you're doing. Amazing. And he heard the song and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna, I like this part. I'm gonna, it's got a break in it. I like it. I'm gonna go in the studio. I'm gonna lay something down and I'm gonna sing it to you. And I was like, okay, all right. Because, you know, you don't want to get excited until it's actually done.
Right.
So I was like, please do it. Like, please.
Stevie, do what you say, Stevie.
Right. And, you know, I knew we were cool. So he was like, you know what? I'm going to send it to you. I was like, did you do it yet? Did you do it? He's like, girl, you tripping. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm getting this to you. I'm like, I can't. Send it to me. FaceTime me so I can see you doing it. Mm-hmm. And he did, and he sent it to me as a surprise. He was just like, something for you to rest your ears on today. Right. I didn't even know what it was, and I listened. I started freaking screaming. I literally did because I was so happy that he loved the song enough to do it, and it made me feel like I was going in the right direction with the album. You know, and I really love the fact that he's working with young people because he did Big Sean's album. He did a story on this album because he's from Detroit and Big Sean's from Detroit. And I was just like, this is so cool for him to be a part of it. So that's pretty much how it happened.
And you know, Stevie is such a legend, and I know that feels good to kind of get that stamp of approval from someone that has been so iconic in the business. So you're right. You are definitely on the right track. And you know what I want to kind of get you to talk about, Porcelan, being a woman in this music business, as women, as you've already stated, you know, you all go through quite a bit and have all of these expectations as a woman. Can you kind of speak to, I guess, some of the challenges that you have faced in the music industry, like some of the things that just stand out to you right now, some of the top challenges that you face as a woman?
As a woman, I feel like one of the main things that we will probably, it is changing because we're like trailblazing right now. So I gotta, you know, shout out to the females out there. Yeah. We're trailblazing right now, but honestly, going through not feeling like you have a voice. I feel like, you know, a lot of times when there's a pretty face, you be quiet. You don't say too much, you know, and we have ideas and it's always this thing to where I need to decide everything for you. I need to answer. I need to tell you who you are. And you need to feel like, oh my gosh, you're helping me. I'm a girl who needs help.
Right.
And thank you so much. And that's not, you know, women, we know what we want. We do things for ourselves. And I think that it gets looked over. Women are the foundation for families. You know, men, of course, they are more dominant, but at the same time, you know, we think for ourselves. We're independent. We do so much. You know, Black women are highest educated in the country.
Yes.
So, I mean, we got a mind and a brain. So I feel like when you show up and you're more than that, it comes off like, or you know what you want and you try to be stern about it. It's not that you don't get the same respect, because it's like, oh, she must be upset or she's a bee. And it's not that. It's just like, I know what I want. I don't like this. I like this. So let's do this.
Yes.
You don't know what you want. And it's like, even when you're trying, even women in this business, when you try to get assertive, a man say, yeah, go do this. People go do it, right? A woman says it, oh yeah, okay. It's like, it's not taking it seriously, and it forces us to be in a space we don't want to be in, because when we ask nicely, we don't get the same results.
Right. So then we got to become the angry Black woman.
Yeah. Do this. I said do that. Like, we don't want to be like that. We want to ask, just like a man said, hey, go do this. Go do that. I need you to do this. Like, I have literally been in places where I would say the same thing a male says, and nobody would hear what I said. But if he repeats what I said, oh man, that's a great idea.
Wow.
I had to get used to that. And I just started kind of having, and it put me in a position for a while where I was comfortable with somebody speaking for me. And I would just not say anything, because I was like, you know, if I say it, you know, it may come off a certain way and I'm not going to get the same results. So I would say, hey, could you say such and such for me? And then I got to a point where I was like, no, don't talk for me anymore. Right. I'm going to talk for myself. They're going to have to get it, and they're going to have to hear me. And I don't need a man speaking for me. I can talk for myself. And I had to get to that point. So I really, that was one of that's my pet peeve.
Yeah.
For real, in this industry, for sure.
All right. Well, I'm glad you stood your ground, Porcelan. You know, we are in a pandemic, right? And I know that you have been undergoing so many changes. What's changed for you with the pandemic? Because we know there's no more performances like in person like there used to be. Are you still performing, or have you been doing virtuals? What's going on with that, with this pandemic and your performance? And, you know, because I know you're pushing your new music. Like, how has life changed in the aspect of marketing and performing with the pandemic?
You know what? Honestly, you have to kind of come up with more creative ways to put yourself out there. I feel like more than anything right now, we're living in a moment of history. So we are like we're like, the world is changing. It's a new era. Yeah. So it's kind of like with this pandemic going on, I literally went into like a survival mode, because I'm like, I gotta be creative. And it really pushed what we were comfortable with at first. It pushed us into another way of thinking, you know, like other ways to make money, other ways to put yourself out there. And during the pandemic, it's like, yeah, I've been doing live performances, how to be more creative with setups, you know, how to engage in different ways, like coming up with new content. It has been a help as well. Cause I mean, we all know the negative side of it, but it has really, really shaped who I am, who I want to be, because I had time to sit down and think about that. I had the time to sit down and think about how I want to come across. Like, how can I make myself significantly different? And I feel like even with the bad, for people in the industry, it's an opportunity for you to separate yourself in a whole nother way. That's not what everybody is doing. Because, you know, beforehand, everybody was just going. I'm at this event, I'm at this event, I'm at this event, I'm at this event. And it was just that. You know, you performing live, you're doing your shows in different places, getting looks. But now it's virtual. So you setting up your stage exactly how you want it to be set up. And it has to be uniquely different, because now it's not about being competitive as to what looks. Now it's about how creative you are, what you're bringing from a creative standpoint. And I've been looking at, like, so many people's visuals and how people really taking their time with their music videos now, live shows. I'm like, y'all wasn't doing live shows like this before the pandemic. Now y'all actually doing shows. Okay.
Nice.
So now everything is like stepping up in a way, but it's from a creative standpoint. And I mean, I spent a lot of time writing, you know, I got better at my skill because I'm always trying to work to get better. Because I don't want to hit a plateau. You know, I always want to be like, you know, I'm good, but I ain't good enough. I'm good, but I ain't good enough. I'm good, but I need to work harder because it keeps me in a place where I can grow. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. Like, you know, I'm still as we kind of move forward with the album, I'm doing my next YouTube live for my album and just playing that. And it's just exciting because I get to do a live show from the internet. So it's like, okay, we're going to have a stage and it's just going to be a whole vibe. And I get to create that and be my production manager and put it together how I want to. So it's going to be fun.
Yes, it is. And you are very active on your social media platforms. I've been checking out your Instagram. You've been popping, baby. You've been doing your dances.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yes. So, you know, I understand what you're saying about being engaged because you, as an artist, you got to put that content out there and you're doing a wonderful job, Porcelan.
Thank you.
And I am so proud of you. And I just feel like, you know, with you sticking to your guns, with how you want to be original, how you want to try things, everything is going to work out for you. So keep up the great work, Porcelan. Thank you so much for being my guest today on Verbally Effective Podcast. We have learned so much about you, lady, and I appreciate you so much. I really do.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. I really enjoyed this because I feel like this is like really in-depth interview. And I do a lot of interviews, but this one was really, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just say it, you know.
Yes, so say it. You did a great job. I appreciate your authenticity. And I want you to let everybody know how they can get your new album, Mood Ring, that's dropping on October 30th, and how they can follow you on social media. Give them all that good stuff, lady.
Okay, so everything is going to be available on October the 30th everywhere, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Tidal. So on all your streaming platforms, I'm going to be doing my rollout this week. Toxic, the single and the music video also drops the same day as my album. So you're going to get a really dope music video with the album. And everybody can follow me at Porcelan Music, Porcelan. That's Porcelan Music on all platforms. And just, stay updated because I have shows coming up and so many other dope little things I'm doing. So.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Porcelan. You are repping Memphis to the utmost best of your ability. You are awesome. You represent us well, and we love you here in Memphis. And, best of luck on everything you got going forward, and especially with Mood Ring. Thank you so much, Porcelan.
Thank you.
You have a good one, lady. I know you got a whole bunch of interviews coming up. So you have a marvelous day on this campaign with the new album, lady. Thank you.
Thank you. You don't be talking to you soon.
Yes, ma'am.